Hello and welcome to Not One Right Way, the podcast. It's me, your co-host, Melissa, and
It's me, your other co-host, Marv.
how you doing, Marv?
I'm so tired.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
You know how last year January never ended? Like it was just like January just kept going. It's like that, but worse this year in different ways.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that's pretty accurate. We're still pretty oh my gosh, we're dating the episode again. They're gonna know. They're
Oh,
gonna
you're
know.
right. I always forget not to date it, and then immediately my mind's like,
Immediately
let's
we're
just talk
like,
about how it's January.
and it's January 8th, just so everybody knows, 5 p.m. When we're recording this.
And this episode will be coming out in April, so
Yeah.
happy April. It's
Yeah,
actually my
happy
dad's
April.
birthday when this releases, so
Oh,
happy birthday,
hey.
Dad. Anyway, that's how I'm doing.
Yeah, it's literally felt like January has been 3 months already, and we're a week into it.
Mhm, mhm.
Unbelievable.
But what have you been watching to cope?
What have I been watching? TBH. I've been watching Call the Midwife. It's
Love that for
my
you.
comfort show. I feel really, really terrible that the holiday special episode came out without me mentioning that I love the Call the Midwife Christmas specials.
That's right.
It's my
This
absolute
is your
favorite.
retcon
Yeah,
correction.
my correction. West Wing Christmas episode, they're pretty okay. But the Call the Midwife specials, special. Special place in my
Yeah,
heart for sure.
I'm glad you're enjoying some Call the Midwife in these trying times.
Yeah. What are you watching?
Um, I'm watching the new season of the new Gumball, if that makes sense, because
Yeah.
they rebooted it. I'm watching season 2, and it's pretty fun. I feel like what I enjoy about this reboot, because a lot of reboots are just so like, eh. This one's fun. I think it still keeps a lot of that chaotic energy of Gumball. And one of my favorite parts of Gumball is the like multi texture of it. It's like you got 2D and 3D and live action, and it's just all these different art styles, and it's just very fun to watch. And I'm always wondering, like, how did they make that on a production side? Like,
Mhm.
how did they make that show work? I'd love to
Right.
learn. I'd love to work on it as a producer because it's just very interesting to
Yeah.
watch. I love
I
it.
I love when you describe those things because I like, get a little window into your mind, the little spreadsheet with the little assets and the Jira,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
you're calculating it all.
Like that. They made a joke. I think they had James Baxter do a sequence. For those who don't know, James Baxter is like one of these iconic animators of our time. Like his style is very distinct. It's very fluid, and that style is kind of hard to replicate because it's so detailed. And so they did a joke that's like, what if we made it more expensive? And then they cut to Gumball and Darwin in this like James Baxter style. And the whole joke was that it was really expensive to do it, even though it was like a 10-second sequence, because it's so much more expensive to do that style. But I got the joke. I thought it was hilarious.
That is
And it looked
hilarious.
pretty.
Yeah.
But speaking of great art styles, I'm so excited to talk to our guests today. They are a good friend of one of our former guests, Lily, if anyone has listened to that episode. Welcome, Tato Lu. Hello.
Hey, woo! Thanks for that kind intro. Good stuff.
Of course.
Speaking of that gunball sequence you're talking about with the beautiful animation, I saw that online and gosh, it's so gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw it online first, and then in the episode, it goes on even longer. So it's like, it's just really fun. James
Spark.
Baxter is great.
I love it.
What are you watching right now?
So these days, Korean reality TV has an iron grip on me. Like,
Tell me more.
Culinary Class Wars has been.
Yeah?
Yes.
I don't know about guilty. I don't feel guilty about watching these reality shows. They're so fun. It's the cliffhangers, the editing, it's all so overtly like to manipulate you into like binging the show, but I'm all there for it. I'm like just a little lab rat. I'm like, yeah, give me that
Yeah.
dopamine hit. I'm there
I
for it.
want the 3 cuts of the same reaction. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. I didn't catch it the first time. Let me see it 2 more. But I've been loving that, and I've been yeah, eagerly waiting for the finale, I think, is coming up.
Yeah. Who's your favorite chef, even if they've been eliminated so far?
Mhm. Gosh, in this season. So maybe some context for those who don't know about culinary class wars. They get this huge group of chefs and they split them into the white spoons and black spoons. White spoons are like these Michelin star chefs and very like renowned, and the black spoons are supposedly these mom and pop or like lesser known chefs. I say that, but like even the black spoon chefs are like really accomplished and
So
renowned themselves.
talented.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, so it's basically just really talented chefs dueling it out against each other who already have restaurants and a lot of fame and everything, but, whatever.
Mhm.
Um, so if I were to think oh gosh, I think my favorite it's hard to pick one. I definitely like Brewmaster.
Yes!
That
She's
was our
she's
favorite.
so humble. Um, I think she is one of those chefs that kind of she does capture the black spoon energy of being like this kind of lesser known chef and coming from humble roots and really just focusing on serving good food and
Mhm.
a good environment for her customers. And it kind of comes through in everything she talks about with her cooking and the way she's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
totally gone on a tangent there, but like, I think she's probably one of my faves.
She just loves the food, and she loves the process of making the food, like, she's never in a rush, and the
Mm.
presentation doesn't matter as much to her because it's more about enjoying the meal,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and that speaks to me.
Yes. Yes. It's very homey, very humble. And every time she like tears up on the show, I always tear up with her. I'm like,
Yeah. You see her handshake, I'm feeling that too. It's like, "Yeah, girl, like, it's
"You got this."
stressful. Got
yeah.
this."
And her hands
I love
shaking.
brewmaster.
Ah, I'm there with
We're
you.
actually planning a trip to Korea solely to go to her restaurant because 'cause we're like, "You know what?
Yeah.
Let's make this happen. We gotta go."
What a dream. I've been wanting to go to any of these folks' restaurants, but, yeah, that sounds great. I would love to hear what you think.
Yeah, we're going in 2027, long-term goals,
Yeah.
so we'll let you know in a
Okay.
year.
Gosh.
Marv, would you like to start us off?
Yeah. So, as a listener of our podcast, as I've also explained before, my background is in social work. A lot of the times I'm meeting somebody for the first time, and, the introduction is, "Hey, actually, everything in my life's on fire. Uh, can you help?" And I just rush in there, putting out flyers, doing some hard work, usually. I don't know where I was going with this. I have a hard-hitting question for you.
Hit me, yeah.
Yeah. On a continuum from salty to sweet, where do you think you lie?
That's such a good question. Wow. Do you have, like, new questions every episode for
I do.
Yeah.
wow, okay. I was, like, listening to old episodes to try to, like, anticipate
Try and come up. Yeah.
but that's out of left field. Salty or sweet? Probably all the way towards salty, yeah.
Mm.
There's some I don't know. This is probably a more annoying part of my personality, but I like to be kind of a contrarian or cynic sometimes. I
Hmm.
think you're that way. Um, so I'll go all salty. Like if someone give me the option between like sweet dreams or nightmares, I usually go with nightmares just because it sounds
Mm.
edgier or cooler. It's like,
Yeah, yeah,
it's so
yeah.
saccharine to be sweet or it's so saccharine to be a sweet dreamer. But nothing against that. I think it's also very beautiful. But gosh, salty. I'd say I'm salty.
It's a good answer. You're metal till you die, you know?
Knock on wood. Yeah.
Marv, what about you?
I would say predominantly sweet and incidentally salty,
I
which
like
I
that.
would say is a Kinsey 5. Don't ask the
What does that mean?
the Kinsey scale?
Yeah,
It's
I
between
don't know what that is.
it's between homosexual and heterosexual.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah. So Kinsey was positing that everyone's mostly bisexual, but they have predominantly heterosexual attraction or homosexual attraction, and we all kind
gotcha.
of fall somewhere in that scale. This is what I was thinking when I created this question in my mind. So
Oh.
I'm just revealing the thought process to you. Um,
Ooh. Huh.
This was an "Are you gay?" quiz?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
A secretly are you gay quiz?
Yeah.
OMG.
Unfortunately, I don't know why I did that.
Well, my answer like before I knew this secret underlying plot was I was gonna say I'm like 60% sweet, 40% salty, 'cause I do really like sweet things, but I'll always prefer a savory, like you go to brunch, a savory brunch over a sweet brunch, you know?
Mhm.
I just love so many salty foods. But I also like sweet heat, so I was like, I wish heat was on the scale. I need a third prong.
Mm.
Mm. Is the question more about, like, what flavors we like to eat or, like, what we would be as if we were a flavor?
Um, my intention was mostly, like, what flavor you would be. Yeah.
Mm, mhm, mhm. I do
Mostly
like
just
cruise.
loves
I
chowing down,
just
though.
I just love to eat. We were talking about culinary classwares, and that's where my brain was like,
Yeah,
food?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Totally.
I do love my sweets, I do.
Last guest we talked to, we asked who their favorite anime hottie was, and since you love drawing hot anime people, do you have a preferred anime
Yeah,
hottie?
that's a great question again. So I do love to draw anime hotties. I'm not very good at drawing anime hotties. They're quite hard to draw. A lot of respect to people who can pull it off. Hmm. I do like, do you all know this show called Trigun? It's like this 90s anime. Yeah, yeah. It's like this space western cowboy. Um, and then there are 2 leads in it who I think are very appealing. Vash the Stampede, he's like this blonde, spiky-haired hero of the story. And then his kind of foil, this darker uh, foil against this really bright, optimistic character, Nicholas D. Wolfwood. And I think they're my biases, yeah. Because I grew up watching that show, and God, they look so good, yeah.
They look like they should kiss.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe more than that, yeah. And I
Just
agree.
maybe.
Well, so I wanna give you some context when I say this, that, Wolfwood has this really large cross,
Mhm.
um, so it matches my aesthetic too, you know?
Mm, mm.
Yeah.
And for your context, Marv's really into the Catholic aesthetic. Like, they're not Catholic, but the aesthetic of Catholicism
Mhm.
Yeah,
is
yeah,
their
yeah, yeah, yeah,
favorite.
yeah.
I hear you.
It is pretty.
Sexy
And I like
priests, sexy nuns, all that.
the yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
cigarette, yeah.
Yeah.
When we watched Conclave, Marv said they were just a bunch of I forget how you said it, but it was
Dripped
like,
out divas?
yeah, they're just a bunch of drift out divas, and you're not wrong.
It's true.
The
With the
costumes
robes,
were
right?
beautiful. They were gorgeous, yeah. Um,
Ugh,
did you watch the latest Knives Out movie as well? Also very heavy Catholic themes, hot
No, I
priest.
haven't yet.
Yeah.
I
You would
told
love
Marv they'd love it.
I know.
We'll have to do a movie night
Yeah.
you can enjoy. It's good. Well, thank you so much for answering our hard-hitting questions.
of
Now
course.
this is a part of the show where we pivot to learn more about you. Can you tell us and the listeners a little bit about your backstory? Did you know you always wanted to work in art, or did you have a different first dream?
Yeah, yeah. Well, let me just say, like, those 2 questions already helped me learn more about myself, so thanks for asking those. Backstory, I'm a career switcher, so I didn't really work in the animation industry or really know that I wanted to work in that industry or try to do it until, like, maybe 2 years ago. So, I didn't go to art school. When I was a kid, I didn't really consider it a dream or, like, a feasible option at all. I grew up around the Bay Area in California to immigrant family. Both my parents are, like, engineers. My brother has gone on to become an engineer, basically. Well, nowadays, he's a video game dev, so he's kind of found his calling too. But, all that to say, like, growing up, we didn't really know that it was an option to work in entertainment and very much bought into the mentality of, if you're an artist, you're gonna be a starving artist. And if you're gonna get a job, you might as well get a job that, maximizes your income, maximizes your security so you can raise a family. retire early, they'll get good education. So it's a very like very planned out, a very like well trodden path. Seemed like the only option growing up. And, as a kid, I tended to be pretty complacent and just accepting that. Like my older brother, he would kind of go on ahead of me and I'd do everything first. And I would just kind of follow on in his path. And so he, went to high school, went to college, went on to get a good job. And I was like, okay, I'll just do that too. And my dad also had a very like clear, he was like, oh, he would always say, I have a 10-year plan for you to become an investment banker. And I was like, okay, sure.
Sure.
Really didn't know what else to say because, I wanted very much to be make my parents proud, like
Mm.
they worked very hard to get us here. And I really wanted to do my best to make, make them happy. So when people would ask me in high school, "Well, what do you want to be when you want to grow up?" At some point I started saying, "I want to be a banker." It's like, who wants to be a banker in that their age? It's totally made up. It's totally just something I would say. And I don't know, the more I said it, the more I bought into it. And I went to school for economics and statistics. I did not become an investment banker. I just didn't have the chops for it. You have to be very like a certain type of personality to get in there. But I did end up just going down this field of just the old job I had was economic consulting. It's very dry, very stressful kind of work, very much good for academic types. Gosh, I'm worried that my old bosses will hear this, but like, no,
Probably not.
but yeah, I mean, if you're, there are folks who I think have the right personality for that line of work. I just wasn't it. I just didn't belong in that field. And I kept denying that through undergrad, through the jobs I had. I went to business school for crying out loud.
Mm.
Um, and I sunk maybe, if you count all the education and the amount of work I put into it, I want to say I sunk a little less than 10 years or something like that into this field before I
Mm.
finally like was thinking like, I can't do this anymore. Like I gave
Yeah.
it the old college try, 10 years, geez.
Yeah.
But, and it wasn't any specific trigger. It was more that just throughout this whole experience and all that, I found myself like I was always still drawing. I was always still drawn to making comics, making stories, making doodles, putting stuff online. And that was always like what was making me happy through it all. The more I worked, the more I realized like I'm gonna have less and less time to do this thing I really like to do. And more of my life is gonna be dedicated to this thing. It's not my dream. It was something that was given to me maybe by my parents, but also by society to, just like, oh, you gotta hustle, you gotta make money. These expectations, right? So there was no trigger. It was just gradually realizing I had a chance when work was like slower. I like came up for breath and realized looking around me like, what am I doing? What am I doing? I'm gonna die one day. Why am I gonna like waste away at
Yeah.
this job? Like if I died tomorrow, I'd really regret it if I didn't like at least take a stab at doing what I loved. So I quit 2 years ago ish. And like I said, I'd always been drawing throughout the whole thing as a kid, but also in college and throughout that. And I've been posting stuff online. And thankfully, people seem to like it online, the stuff that I was putting up, thankfully. And that sort of gave me the confidence to think like maybe I could really make this work. Maybe I do have a knack for telling stories or telling jokes, at least visually, making funny drawings. And I was able to make some friends as well in college, kind of these like-minded folks who were also kind of following similar paths to me where it's like, oh, I need to take a sensible career, but I
Yeah.
actually really like art. And one of these good friends of mine actually did it before I did in undergrad. He dropped out and went to Cal Arts and then went on to Pixar after that. And he was kind of like, oh, he's kind of become the role model for like, oh, I could do that too. So I reached out to him after I quit and said, like, I could use some help putting together a portfolio. And really just all my any friends that I had who were already in entertainment or in animation, I was like, hey, I could use your help. Just try to get as much feedback as I could. So I put together a portfolio, applied to the timing worked out where I could apply to the Pixar internship. Thankfully, I got in. A lot of that is again thanks to a lot of coaching I got, I think. After the internship, was unemployed for a hot minute. Yeah, I'm sure as you're talking to folks in animation, they're all saying, everything's on fire. And then I
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm special. I'll make it through, but, like, no.
Yeah.
That's what I
Uh,
figure.
and so I landed straight into that fire, and then, I was seriously considering, like, "Okay, well, if this doesn't work, I'll just find another job," and then at the last minute, I got a revisionist gig, and that's where I'm at now. I'm a revisionist on Big City Greens at Disney TV Animation, and it's been about a little more than half a year now, and I've been loving it, so still feeling very green to the industry. It's a really long-winded answer, sorry for that. But
We
that's kind
love
of
those.
yeah.
So, do you know Gabby Rodea at Big City
Yeah,
Greens?
Gabby's great, and then I saw your profile picture was from Amber as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Love
yeah,
Amber.
yeah, yeah. Lovely, lovely folks. Amber and Gabby were probably, like, the 2 friendliest folks. Well, everyone was very welcoming, but they were especially proactive about saying hi and introducing themselves when I first started, so I really appreciated it.
Yeah. We just spoke with Gabby, well, I think before, I don't know, recent
Uh-huh.
time. But we just spoke with them and they were lovely, so it's cool.
Gabby is a funny, funny guy, and he has, like, a encyclopedic knowledge of, like, animation and TV animation particularly, and also dinosaurs. I'm like, "Oh my
Yeah,
god,
I
he"
was gonna say, and dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Dinosaurs.
It's incredible, yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing your story. I wanted to ask a little bit about more about like those backgrounds and influence in your comics because I
Mhm.
was reading some of your comics and they're so delightful. Really liked
Yeah.
My Boyfriend's an Alien, I think is what it's
Yeah.
called. Don't know, so good.
So much.
I
Uh,
don't know. It was just fun to read because it had a lot of humor and I could see how a lot of your comics lead to you becoming a storyboard artist. So when did you decide you wanted to start doing storyboards while you were drawing comics?
yeah, 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 yeah. I'll start with, like, kind of influences for comics, and then I'll talk a bit about how I decided to go into storyboarding. But for influences, I mean, I'm a '90s kid, so I'm sure I was influenced pretty heavily by a lot of the '90s cartoons I was seeing. I remember, like, Billy and Mandy and, like, Courage the Cowardly Dog. I'm sure those are kind of embedded in my DNA somehow.
Mhm.
The saltiness.
I need the what?
The
The
saltiness.
saltiness.
The saltiness. Yes, yeah. '90s kids are salty?
I couldn't watch those shows, they were too scary.
Yeah. That's
They
the connection I was
were.
making. The shows themselves were, I don't know, salty, edgy.
Yeah, yeah, and they were pretty scary to me as a kid too, but, like, I was it's like you can't look away kinda thing,
Mm.
and but also, like, a lot of anime, manga, these kind of more Japanese media, I think helped influence a lot of my humor. There's a lot of gag comics I really like. Lately, I've been really enjoying rereading, like, this one called Sket Dance, which is basically a group of high schoolers solving everyday problems for, like, kids around school. It's like a very simple framework, but it does focus weekly on, like, having new gags for each scenario, and these are very, like, easy, snappy, hard-hitting gags, and I really enjoy that type of humor. There's another one called sorry, what was it? Little Miss P. Looking at my bookshelf
Mm.
here. Um, Little Miss P is very charmingly drawn. It's by this artist, Ken Koyama, and I think that's been very influential lately, just in terms of, like, how I wanna draw and the type of humor. It's kind of heartfelt stories about various vignettes about women having periods, and kinda Little Miss P is this embodiment of what a period would look like, and she's, like, this giant, menacing, like,
That sounds great.
like, and she creature and, like, will, like, punch these poor people in the gut every month, but that type of humor is I don't know, it's just kind of absurd and funny, and the expressions are so funny. So, yeah, it's like a mix of cartoons, manga, anime, even, like, cartoons in 2000s as well, at Adventure Time, we were talking about Gumball. Just tons of really funny stuff out there, and I just kinda try to soak it all in. But it is mostly predominantly, like, animated things or cartoon things. There are a few, like, more live action comedy stuff that I like, but I don't know if they're so influential on the way I draw. And then how I wanted to get into storyboarding, I wasn't sure that I wanted to in the first place, honestly. When I first quit my job, I spent a lot of time trying to do, like, informational interviews, basically. I was just hitting up anyone I could think of and, like, jobs that I think I could do, and basically asking them, "Hey, are you happy with your job?"
It's a
Very,
good first question.
Yep.
very private. Yeah, very personal. Well, and then it's just like, yeah, just generally, how do you feel about the future in this career and all that stuff.
Mm.
I was kind of reasoning with myself, like, "Oh, you don't have to go into animation, maybe just regular 9 to 5 or, like, some other job out there could be your calling." 'Cause I'm very much skeptical of the idea of, like, a dream job being your, like, solve for happiness, right?
Mm.
I think certainly a job is a lot of our lives. I think finding a good job that we meet a lot of our needs is important and can be beneficial for our happiness, but I don't wanna stake it all on this, like, if I get into animation, if I become a storyboard artist, I'll be super happy. I was skeptical of that idea, and I was like, "Okay, well, maybe I could make these other jobs work." But after all of that, I think in the deepest parts of my heart, I knew it was like, "Oh, well, storyboard is the closest to comics," which I really like doing this visual storytelling. And I'm lying to myself if I say I don't wanna give it a chance, Like,
Mm.
even though everything was burning at the time and everyone was like, "Oh, I'm, like, really scared about the future of animation, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Oh, but maybe I'm special. Maybe maybe I can make." Um, and there was a part of me that just wanted to take a gamble on it. So there's that rational part of me was like, "Ah, I can do any job and, like, as long as it meets certain needs that I have and I'm clear on those needs." There's that rational part of me, and then there's this kind of delusional part of me that was like, "But what if I, like, actually took a stab at it and took a gamble?" And so I trusted that delusional side of me, and I don't know, we'll see if it actually pays off in the end, yeah.
Sometimes you gotta give into the delulu just a little bit, see what
Yeah.
happens.
You really do, yeah.
And I do think your art's special. I didn't watch it, I read I don't know what to call it. I looked at all the panels for Runaway, for your Pixar storyboard,
Oh, thank you.
and it did make me cry, so there's something there.
Thank you so much, I really
It's really
appreciate it.
beautiful.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. I always have doubts about old work, so that's really nice to hear. I, like, look back at it every now and then, and I was like, "Oh, is it still good?" But so to hear you say that is I appreciate it.
Still good. It's still very good. I love the details of it. I don't know. There's not a lot of dialogue, which I think is one of my favorite parts.
Mm.
Like, there's nothing more frustrating to me than someone being like, "Animation's a genre, it's a medium," and you really utilize the medium in such a nice way. Like, there's this frame where the main character, like, slams into the chest. It's my
Yeah.
favorite. It's so good.
But thank you. I do like to going back to, like, just the style of humor that I like. I do like to avoid dialogue in a lot of what I do and try to focus on how to draw something that looks funny more than say something that's funny.
What led to the creation of the storyboard? Was it an assignment they gave you at the internship?
It was. I think the Pixar internship, they try to keep everything pretty under tight wraps and secret, but, like, what exactly goes on. But I think it's if you look around at a lot of other portfolios for other Pixar interns, you'll see a lot of personal stories. So I think that one is pretty well known.
Next question. I noticed a lot of your art has little guys and little creatures, and as a fellow lover of little guys, I'm a huge fan. What are your favorite little guys to draw, and what inspired your love for little guys?
Oh, that's wonderful. Always love meeting other little guy enjoyers. It's like we grow more
Yeah!
ourselves are little guys, growing more and more.
So true.
What inspired I mean, Tamagotchi definitely. Just
Yeah.
seeing a lot of their little kind of the MS Paint look to them and this rough
Yeah, yeah.
doodly aesthetic I really enjoyed. But I think more in general, kinda gachapon and toy culture,
Mm.
in well, I guess you see it here nowadays too with blind boxes, Labubus, and all that. But
Yeah.
in, like, Japan or I recently went to Taiwan, it feels like that kind of toy culture is huge, and you have everything from the staples from, like, Doraemon and Anpanman, like, these kind of childhood mascots to, like, indie artists these days who are making their own little creatures or own mascots to advertise their tables at these events. just being surrounded by that kind of character culture was very inspiring. I was like, oh man, I want to do little mascot creatures and funny looking guys too. When I draw little guys, it's very freeing. Like I feel
Yeah.
like, yeah, right. You know what I mean?
I have no clue, but I'm so interested. Tell me more.
Yeah, it's like when we're doing, I think a lot of artists, there's kind of this hustle mentality of like, oh, you got to study and like really get your anatomy and proportions and perspective and like do these academic drawings and get
Mhm.
to be a really good draftsman and artist. But for me, drawing and art has always been something that I do for fun and kind of as a release. And so while I would try to do these kind of academic things too, I think I get the most enjoyment when I'm just doodling and just like in the margins of a paper or something, just like little things. And what would often come out would be these little guys. And so like I remember there's this one point after a especially grueling day at work, I was just so tired. I just I don't know if I should say this, but like on a podcast, but I guess it's fine. I took an edible and then I put on Plantasia.
I love that.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
We
and
could
had
if there's any cops here, you
you
legally have to
legally have
tell.
to tell us.
vibe. Identify yourself.
If you're listening and you're a cop, you legally have to tell us.
God,
Anyway,
and
continue.
the closets, maybe someone's hiding there. But, yeah, it's like and it was just, like, vibing, and just, like, music is a really good way, I think, to release that kind of in the moment, present, doodly energy, and so I just kinda channeled that and drew a bunch of what became series 1 of my Marvelous Little Creatures. These, like, basically a bunch of yeah, just little guys, and I named each of them, and I went on to, like, do a bunch more of them too, and I think within those creatures, some of my favorites are probably Chester the rat. He's like this little rat-looking guy. Lemon birds I've been enjoying drawing, just like a mix between a lemon and a bird. Yeah. Just like a lot of animal creatures or like things inspired by nature, I think have been the most fun to draw.
I love
An
it.
alien.
I love your little
Yeah.
guys. I got some of your art at Lightbox this year. You were tabling with 2 other amazing artists, Lily and oh man, can't remember their name. Can you
And
talk about what it was like? Yes, and Rebecca. What was it like tabling this year at Lightbox?
well, thank you so much. Yeah. I'm so glad you stopped by. Yeah. It's such a blur that those sort of events. And I'm always thankful for everyone who stops by and chit chats and buys anything. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. I think the reason I like tabling at these markets, so Lightbox is probably one of the bigger events of the year that I would go to, and I always end up just tagging along with Rebecca or somebody else because they're the ones who get in,
Mhm.
and for whatever reason, Jimmy doesn't want me. um,
Adorable Jimmy.
yeah, no, no hard feelings, Jimmy. But those are the bigger ones, but I do also like a lot of these, like, local, smaller I guess Lightbox is local, but, like, smaller events too
Mhm.
that focus a lot of indie art. Because again, it's very inspiring to see art that isn't driven by this very academic feel of, like, "Oh, this is good for animation," but more so it's just art that people wanna make, and it's fun, and it's a passion project. So it's very inspiring to be around all those artists, inspired to be with Lily and Rebecca. Lily's a powerhouse. I'm sure that, you know she just creates an amazing output of work, and her booth setup is just so professional and put together. Rebecca Shea is she's actually my wife now. Yeah. It's
Wow.
OMG.
uh
Good wife.
still but she's an incredible artist, and being able to table with her at these events is also very inspiring because whenever I see her risograph work, the colors are just so vibrant. And there's just crowds of people always coming up and like, "Oh, man, I love your work, Rebecca, blah, blah, blah." And I'm over here like, what about my creatures?" Um,
You wanna buy a little guy?
but I think we attract to there's some overlap between our audiences, but I do think we bring in quite a good spread of people, and that's really a lot of the fun of it is just meeting people who are excited about this work, and I don't know, I would be lying if I said it wasn't like a huge ego boost to just have, like, people come up and compliment and buy your art, and it feels like, "Wow, I'm, like, really making something real." putting it out there, people are enjoying it, and it's kind of this feedback loop where it's like, "Okay, people like it, so now I wanna make more, and I like it too." So I really love tabling events. I highly encourage any other artists out there to give it a shot. I think there's tons of events in LA happening these days, and you can always try to apply to them and see what happens. I think CALA, Comic Arts LA, was one that happened recently. Anyone can cook
Mhm.
zine fest, like zine fests in general, book fairs, art fairs, fun stuff. Love
Yeah.
it.
I went to Takanami Alley to buy Christmas gifts. It was just a little artist alley in Little Tokyo, and it's so cool to
Mm,
see all these artists, like, in this tiny little shop, a bunch of booths, and everyone was crammed in there, but it's just a bunch of people buying pretty art from small artists.
yeah, yeah. It kinda reminds me of I don't know if you 2 feel this way, but, with, like, early Tumblr, it felt like I was constantly discovering new artists and, like,
Uh-huh.
inspiration, and then maybe I'm, like, dating myself when I say all this. It's like, "Oh, the early days of internet were so nice," all that. But nowadays, it feels I don't know if I'm imagining it, but, like, it feels like it's a little harder to find new art that I haven't seen before and that it's really inspiring online because there's just also get inundated by so much other material too, like ads or like, reels, other stuff. So going to these markets, I think, is a great way and it feels very inspiring to a great way to discover other artists I haven't seen before who are local to the area and are doing great stuff with physical media, prints and
Yes,
sculpture, all this cool stuff. Getting back
definitely.
to analog, you know?
Mhm.
I think I feel the same way that Crave of, like, I wanna print everything out, put it I don't have enough space for it, but I don't want anything to live in my computer anymore. Like, they're gonna
Mhm.
take it away. As we draw to a close, just a few more questions. What are your future goals? Do you wanna continue storyboarding for a big company? Do you ever wanna make your own show? What's next for you?
Yeah. I feel like I'm still pretty early on in this career track. That might be a difference compared to some other podcast guests you had before. It sounds like a lot of folks talk to are pretty far along in their career. But for me, it's like I'm still kind of figuring out what's gonna be next. It does feel like as a revisionist, the next step up would be storyboard artist, depending on your perspective. But I think I do want to try to be a storyboard artist sometime in the next 5 years or something. But long
Mhm.
run, it would be a dream to be able to make my own stories, whether that be through a show or through my own independent publications or through like children's book stuff. I don't
Yeah,
know really what the future holds. There's tons of options out there, and I don't think it has to be just one, you know?
yeah. I'd love a children's book with your little guys. Sounds
I
great.
was I was thinking the exact same thing. What
Thank
would
you so
what would
much.
this potential children's storybook, illustrated book be about? Do you have any ideas?
Your
Right now
guess is
on the
as
spot. Give
like,
us your top 10 pitches.
gosh. Um, it would be very nice to do something with little guys and, I don't know. I there's a lot of inspiring children's books as well. I
Mm,
like have you seen this little bread robber character, Pandorable?
I
He's
don't
like
think
None?
so.
he's like this rat who steals bread from a bakery.
God bless.
He's kind of mischievous guy and wears his bread as a mask. Super
I
cute. I would love to do something like that one day.
Encourage thievery?
I think so.
Yes.
There's too many books teaching good lessons. I think we need to start teaching kids to do crime.
Something a little saltier, too many
Yeah.
there.
Mhm, mhm. And our final question usually is, do you have any advice for people who would also be interested in pivoting their careers?
Mhm. It's a tricky question because well, that's why I kinda like your guys' podcast so much. It's like there's not just one way, right? Not just one right way. What worked for me might not work for anyone else. But I will say, like, what worked for me was just to draw, just to draw and
Mhm.
put it online. I think there it's easy to get caught up in all these, like, watching a bunch of tutorials or like, "Oh, I'm gonna focus on networking," or like, "Oh, I'm gonna, apply to all these things." But I think the first place it starts really is just honing your craft, developing your voice, figuring out what is your taste in media and just, like, being very specific about it. And that's kind of what I did and put it online. And then you kind of I kinda, I have a love-hate relationship with social media where, it feels like at some point kind of becomes all about the numbers and it kinda devalues your art in a way. But,
Mm.
at the same time, I'm also, like I said, I'm a lab rat. I'm kind of a sucker for that stuff. So, for me personally, it helped me, like, keep me motivated to make new stuff and keep putting it online. The part of it is intrinsic motivation, part of it is also seeing, like, is this entertaining to people? Does this make people laugh? Does it connect with people? And
Mhm.
if I can do that, then maybe that gave me the confidence to see if I could maybe do that for a job. And so I know a lot of people out there are like, "Oh, I don't like social media. It's scary to post your stuff online." But I would encourage people to do it anyway and ignore the numbers when you're starting out, but just get into the habit of, just sharing your work and getting used to having it seen by the public eye. Because if you wanna do, like, art for animation or something like that, then your art is going to be seen by the public, and it has to relate to people, it has to connect to people, make them laugh, make them scared, make them feel something, and a way you can test your ability to do that, you can do that on your own with social media.
Nice.
That's good advice.
Like,
There's
it's
not one
so
right way.
there's not one way.
What are you gonna say,
I'm sorry,
more?
what was
I said there's not one right way, but, like, really quick and under the breath, so, like, there's not one right. But my question, did I have a question? No, this is a statement, actually. I think what I've appreciated about this conversation with you, Tato, is that, like, we hear at the beginning about this 10 years that you sunk into a career and the gamble that you took on this new career, this big change, and I love it. I love that you're like, "Oh, no, I'm not into finance," but you brought up finance terms. Curious. But also, like, that is so true to how people think, this fallacy of the sunk cost
Mhm,
and the bravery it takes to make that gamble. I think it's amazing, and then what you're describing here with this, like, putting yourself out there, putting your art out there, I think is w what a vulnerable thing to say and a vulnerable thing to do.
mm. Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
We appreciate you for coming on and sharing your story. It's very generous.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you mentioned about sunk cost, if I could say one more thing to
Mhm.
folks out there, and if you do wanna make the pivot and switch into something that you love or you find yourself in a job that you hate, it's never too late, yeah. You can make that move anytime you want. Well, depending on how old you are, I think, but, like, if you're in your 30s or that's definitely not too late. Because I made the switch when I was 30 around, and I know a lot of other people have made career switches around then too, and I was surprised by how many people who made that switch around that age. And it's
Mhm.
easy to get caught up in thinking you're the only one who is, like, old and, like, making the switch now. But if you're out there and you're, like, thinking about it and you're like, "Oh, I'm too old for this," or like, "Oh, it's too late for me." It's not true. You can do it anytime.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think one of our earliest guests, Josh, he was also
Mhm.
did a career pivot from, it's probably like engineering,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he pivoted to art pretty late too. So,
Mm,
and he's just figuring out starting his career as well. So it's always nice to talk to people who are making that switch and advocating for themselves and
Mhm.
showing that, like, yeah, you are a little special. It will be different.
Yeah.
all special in our own ways. There's not just one special person.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously not. There's three of us in the room.
Well, thank you so much, Tato, for spending time with us. I hope you had a lovely time.
Yeah, I did. Thank you so much for taking the time and for opening up your podcast here for me. And even though you two are tired, I appreciate you trugging along with me here today.
Of course, anytime.
Anytime.
That was our conversation with Tato.
I love a little guy enjoyer. I love hearing about little guys. And then just like drunk little guys set me free, and it's like, yeah,
Yeah, they did.
your mind.
Massive. That was an
Massive.
amazing conversation. Thank you, Lily, for the rec. It was so lovely to meet Tato. Thank you, Tato, for sharing your story. And I don't know, what an amazing artist, amazing person. Great time. Another
Great time.
superstar.
Another superstar.
Star-studded guests every time. Yeah. I don't have a lot of closing thoughts. I'm just on a high, just feeling good. Makes me feel a lot
Yeah.
better than I did when I started the episode, you know?
Right? Yeah. I love when that happens. I'm gonna go eat dinner after this, and I'm just gonna be smiling the whole time.
Just feel like my heart is full. This is
Yeah.
why we need community, because it's better when you talk to people instead of just sitting alone, staring at your screens.
Yeah.
As you know, the old people say. Why are you holding up a little guy? Or are you just trying to show me that you have a horse?
Like, no, I'm just like, it's like spinning on the little thing, and I'm just like, hee hee hee.
For the listeners at home, Marv just keeps holding up this little plush horsey keychain, and I just wasn't sure if it was a hint. They're trying to tell me something.
No. Like, once we turned the video off, I was just like, "Ma, ma, 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 la, 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 la," and
Playing with your plushies, little
playing with
Snorlax plushie, little horsey plushie.
I keep these on my desk because I know who I am, you know?
Yeah, I love that for you. I
Thank
don't have any plush on my desk for a reason.
Shocking.
My plush are elsewhere. I just have little guys on my desk. A lot of blind box figurines. Got real Smithskis. I've got knockoff Smithskis. This they're great.
Like, I've been trying to figure out what I think this Smithsky, the fake one, is made out of, and I'm thinking, like, melted crayon wax dipped in oil and then put in resin.
Like, I just can't describe to the listener enough. Regular Smithskis look good. Knockoff Smithskis look sick. They look unwell. Like they fell in radiation or something.
Yeah.
Came out slimy. I love them
It
though.
looks so oily.
Oh, they're so funny. Maybe I'll post a picture of my little guys collection when this episode comes out.
Yeah.
Little guys. Okay. Let's say goodbye to our listeners. I don't know when you're listening. Thank you so much for listening. Our cover art is by Les. The episodes are edited by Marv. And don't forget to leave a review on Apple Podcasts. That'd be amazing. And tell your friends to listen. Tell your neighbors to listen.
Tell the collection of plush that sits on your desk to listen.
Yeah, just play it for them.
Yeah.
Ideally.
Yeah.
And remember,
There's
not
one
right
way.
to switch careers from economics to art.
There's not one right way to be bad at drawing anime hotties.
And there's not one right way to realize that your dream job isn't the solve for happiness.
So true, bestie.
Thank you so much for listening.
Bye.
Bye.